What's going on? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a Smackdown review for today. And I'm only going to do the stuff that is really just, has SummerSlam implications. Like, I'm not going to do Karrion Kross versus Carl Anderson. No disrespect, but, I'm assuming that people want to hear about the stuff that impacts SummerSlam. And obviously, we got the show started with the Tribal Chief. Well, Jey Uso came out first, but it didn't take long for the Tribal Chief to follow. And Roman Reigns was right back to gaslighting the shit out of Jey Uso. Like, bro is saying, like, your own younger brother, which is Solo Sikoa, chose me over you. Jimmy's injured. The only reason why main event Jey exists is because of Jimmy getting injured. Which is actually, I don't know how much truth there is to that, but obviously Roman's referring to the legendary 2020 Bloodline storyline. But, Roman was pissed off. Roman was letting off all that steam, all that Jey Uso getting into Roman's head momentum. Roman countered back. And, obviously, there wasn't any physical stuff, at all. But, Jey Uso, it's almost like that Jey Uso was the number one person to get in the Roman's head. Not Cody Rhodes, not anybody else. Jey Uso knows how to get in Roman's head. He knows how to get Roman, kind of scared a little bit. In this image right here, how many of Roman's other opponents, is Roman really, how many of Roman's other opponents is going to let them do this to him? Like, Jey Uso's literally grabbing Roman. He's like, you know what? I'll do the talking at SummerSlam. And, Jey finally mentioned that he pinned Roman. I mean, I don't know why it took so long for Jey to mention that fact, but he did. And it was a really good opening segment. I thought, I don't think the Bloodline segments are going to miss. You already know this by now. It's going to take something very bad to happen for our Bloodline segment to miss. But we got more Jey Uso content because Grayson Waller, who was rumored for a match tonight anyways, kind of, was like, great, I'm going to make you more famous. You know what, Jey, you may be the number one babyface on SmackDown right now, but you know what? Join my show. And Jey Uso kind of agreed. He also called Jey Uso Little Jey, which I thought was absolutely a perfect pun. But Jey Uso wasn't having any of it. He slapped the shit out of Grayson Waller, and that led us to the main event, which is Jey Uso versus Grayson Waller. Which, by the way, Jey Uso versus Grayson Waller, great main event. I don't want to hear any disrespect to this main event. But next up, we got probably the match with the highest overall stakes on SmackDown, and that is the finals of the U.S. Invitational, Rey Mysterio versus Santos. And even though there was a lot of complaints last week, coming into this match, I was very excited. And the match started off pretty much as you expect. Santos and Rey Mysterio high-flying around the ring. The chemistry is there as I expected between Santos and Rey. But something that I completely did not expect is that Rey Mysterio got hurt. Santos did a suicide dive, and it seems like that Rey hit his head hard on the ramp. And it didn't really look good at first. We got back from commercial, and, you've got the actual doctors that go out there, and check on real injuries out there checking Rey. And it seemed like that Rey was injured. Santos won the match, obviously, because Rey couldn't carry on. And Santos and Austin Theory for the U.S. title is happening in 2 weeks. So, there's that. That's a win. I think Santos definitely deserves to have some gold on him. But, we just got an update that Rey Mysterio is actually not injured. It's a part of a storyline, which I wasn't expecting because it looked as serious as an injury as ever. But it turns out that Rey Mysterio's fine. He's just playing into a storyline. I'm assuming the storyline is to help propel Santos Escobar. But, it's a shame that the match didn't last long. I thought this match could have been like the longest on SmackDown. Jey Uso and Grayson Waller ended up being the longest match. But at the end of the day, if this is an injury angle, it's an extremely good injury angle. Next up, we got, the first time on SmackDown, Chelsea and Sonya. Love to see them on both brands. But obviously, we got Charlotte shoved off our throats. Obviously, it's good to see Bianca Belair, but we got Charlotte shoved off our throats. And Bianca and Charlotte taking on Chelsea and Sonya. I don't necessarily like this. I know women's tag team champions have been disrespected in the past. But this is just on a whole nother level. Obviously, this is a top-tier match. You got the Women's Tag Team Champions. You got Charlotte and Bianca. But you guys know my thing. You guys know my whole thing about Damage Control. Dakota and Io lost more matches than they won as Women's Tag Champs. And I guess the moral of the story continued with Chelsea and Sonya. And, yeah. So, LA Knight was next. Well, Hit Row came out. And I had a feeling that LA Knight would come out. And he did. Massive pop. Easily pop of the night. Besides the Bloodline content. And LA Knight went on an absolute tirade. I mean, this dude, if Hero were already sunk already, LA Knight put him to the ocean floor because Top Dollar got roasted. Michael Cole isn't the only one roasting Top Dollar around here. It's LA Knight. LA Knight also said, this was probably one of my favorite LA Knight lines yet. He went over to talk to B-Fab, which I wasn't expecting, and he said that B-Fab is horny. She's got a tingle in her loin for LA Knight. That line made me burst out laughing because I wasn't expecting LA Knight to interact with B-Fab. I was expecting him to interact with the two male members of Hit Row. But my goodness, this was awesome. I mean, perfect LA Knight. But obviously, a lot of people were looking for more. We love this segment. We love Hit Row getting roasted. But we were looking for more. And after that, we got more to the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley story. Bobby Lashley said the Street Profits can't be around looking like that. The Street Profits gotta be wearing suits to Smackdown. And this is the start of the Hurt Business 2.0 reforming. In the Hurt Business, obviously, they always wear suits every week. So, if you're gonna start the Hurt Business 2.0, you gotta get suits. Next up, my favorite segment from SmackDown, Bayley and Shotzi look like they're going to continue their storyline until we got a little surprise, the women's champion Asuka showing up. So Asuka and Io are in the same space again. You got cinema on the screen. And I love that, Asuka's like, you know what? The cards are stacked against me, but I will walk out women's champion. But Io Sky's like, you know what? I can come in at any moment and take that moment away from you. You're in a triple threat match with Bianca and Charlotte, and I can just kind of just walk in there and take that women's title away from you. It was just perfectly executed. The small words don't matter. Io Sky don't need to say much. She's got the Money in the Bank contract. She doesn't really need to say much, and she didn't. She just laughed off Asuka, walked away, and this was a perfect segment. This lifted up my hype for the triple threat match. This was a single-handed builder towards Bianca, Charlotte, and Asuka, and Io Sky, I really hope that she doesn't cash in at SummerSlam, and I hope she has a successful cash in. If they have her unsuccessfully cash in at SummerSlam, that is the worst case scenario. I just feel like we need two Money in the Bank winners that are willing to go all out and hold the briefcase for a while. That's just my opinion. But next up, we got one of the bigger stories. Adam Pearce is, after they announced a SummerSlam Battle Royale, which that was the last thing I was expecting. I thought Raquel and Rhea would be the last match, but LA Knight was like, this is my chance. I gotta go talk to Adam Pearce. And LA Knight is entering the Battle Royale, and so is Sheamus. I wasn't expecting to see Sheamus tonight. This was an unexpected segment. But LA Knight needs to win this Battle Royale. LA Knight needs to not only be at SummerSlam, but this man needs to win that Battle Royale. Heck, have LA Knight eliminate every single person in that goddamn Battle Royale. And LA Knight versus Sheamus is announced for next week, which is obviously an absolute banger. Next up, Jey Uso versus Grayson Waller. The match is alright. I thought, obviously the whole point is that Roman and Solo were out there. Roman brought a chair out, sat down. But Jey Uso, main event Jey Uso, was in action. And enough said. Jey Uso beat Grayson Waller. But he speared Roman Reigns. And it was a good spear, too. It wasn't like a lazy spear. Jey Uso speared the living daylights out of Roman Reigns. Like this was, dare I say, it was on Braun Breaker levels of shit. Jey Uso trucked this man. But obviously, Jey didn't get the last laugh on SmackDown because it's 2-on-1. And Solo, when Jey Uso was about to put the final touches on Roman, Solo knocked him off the rope. And Solo and Roman show no mercy to Jey. Samoan Spike and Spear combination, and Jey was like a dead animal on the ground. It was bad. But, obviously Jey can't have the advantage every week. You got to give Roman and Solo something. Roman's had a rough 2 weeks. Got to give Roman and Solo something, and they did. So, obviously, the ending of SmackDown was great. SmackDown was really good this week. I say this was a really good episode. You know, SmackDown always delivered. I well expect it to be over 2 million views. You got 2 different Bloodline segments. You got LA Knight. I expect 2 million views. I expect over 2 million views for SmackDown this week. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I'll see you all in the next one.